Where did you come from? Your poor monk, said Shenzang, is the disciple of Faming, abbot of the temple of Gold Mountain. So you are the disciple of the abbot of that temple? She asked and invited him into the mansion and served him some vegetables and rice. Watching him closely, she noticed that in speech and manner he bore a remarkable resemblance to her husband. The lady sent her maid away and then asked, "Young master, did you leave your family as a child or when you grew up? What are your given name and your surname? Do you have any parents?" "I did not leave my family when I was young," replied Shenzang. "Nor did I do so when I grew up. To tell you the truth, I have a wrong to avenge great as the sky, an enmity deep as the sea. My father was a murder victim, and my mother was taken by force. My master the abbot Faming told me to seek my mother in the governor's mansion of Jiangzhou." "What is your mother's surname?" asked the lady. "My mother's surname is Ying," said Shenzang, "and her given name is Wen Jiao. My father's surname is Chen and his given name is Guangrui. My nickname is River Float, but my religious name is Zhenzang. I am Wen Jiao," said the lady. "But what proof have you of your identity?" When Shenzang heard that she was his mother, he fell to his knees and wept most grievously. "If my own mother doesn't believe me," he said, "you may see the proof in this letter written in blood and this inner garment." Wen Jiao took them in her hands, and one look told her that they were the real things. Mother and child embraced each other and wept. Lady Yin then cried, "My son, leave at once. For 18 years I have not known my true parents," said Shenzang. "And I've seen my mother for the first time only this morning. How could your son bear so swift a separation?" "My son," said the lady, "leave at once as if you were on fire. If that bandit Liu returns, he will surely take your life. I shall pretend to be ill tomorrow and say that I must go to your temple and fulfill a vow I made in a previous year to donate 100 pairs of monk shoes. At that time I shall have more to say to you." Shenzang followed her bidding and bowed to take leave of her. We were speaking of Lady Yin who, having seen her son, was filled with both anxiety and joy. The next day, under the pretext of being sick, she lay on her bed and would take neither tea nor rice. Liu Hong returned to the mansion and questioned her. "When I was young," said Lady Yin, "I vowed to donate 100 pairs of monk shoes. 5 days ago, I dreamed that a monk demanded those shoes of me, holding a knife in his hand. From then on, I did not feel well." "Such a small matter," said Liu Hong. "Why didn't you tell me earlier?" He at once went up to the governor's hall and gave the order to his stewards Wang and Li that 100 families of the city were each to bring in a pair of monk shoes within 5 days. The families obeyed and completed their presentations. "Now that we have the shoes," said Lady Yin to Liu Hong, "what kind of temple do we have nearby that I can go to fulfill my vow?" Liu Hong said, "There is a temple of Gold Mountain here in Jiangzhou as well as a temple of Burned Mountain. You may go to whichever one you choose." "I have long heard," said the lady, "that the temple of Gold Mountain is a very good one. I shall go there." Liu Hong at once gave the order to his stewards Wang and Li to prepare a boat. Lady Yin took a trusted companion with her and boarded the boat. The boatman pulled it away from the shore and headed for the temple of Gold Mountain. We now tell you about Shenzang, who returned to the temple and told the abbot Faming what had happened. The next day, a young housemaid arrived to announce that her mistress was coming to the temple to fulfill a vow she had made. All the monks came out of the temple to receive her. The lady went straight inside to worship the Bodhisattva and to give a great vegetarian banquet. She ordered the housemaid to put the monk shoes and stockings in trays and have them brought into the main ceremonial hall. After the lady had again worshipped with extreme devoutness, she asked the abbot Faming to distribute the gifts to the various monks before they dispersed. When Shenzang saw that all the monks had left and that there was no one else in the hall, he drew near and knelt down. The lady asked him to remove his shoes and stockings, and she saw that there was, indeed, a small toe missing from his left foot. Once again, the two of them embraced and wept. They also thanked the abbot for his kindness in fostering the youth. Faming said, "I fear that the present meeting of mother and child may become known to that wily bandit. You must leave speedily so that you may avoid any harm." "My son," the lady said, "let me give you an incense ring. Go to Hangzhou, about 1,500 miles northwest of here, where you will find the 10,000 Flowers Inn. Earlier we left an aged woman there whose maiden name is Zhang and who is the true mother of your father. I have also written a letter for you to take to the capital of the Tang Emperor. To the left of the Golden Palace is the house of Chief Minister Yin, who is the true father of your mother. Give my letter to your maternal grandfather, and ask him to request the Tang Emperor to dispatch men and horses to have this bandit arrested and executed, so that your father may be avenged. Only then will you be able to rescue your old mother. I dare not linger now, for I fear that knave may be offended by my returning late." She went out of the temple, boarded the boat, and left. Shenzang returned weeping to the temple. He told his master everything and bowed to take leave of him immediately. Going straight to Hangzhou, he came to the 10,000 Flowers Inn and addressed the innkeeper, Liu Xiao'er, saying, "In a previous year, there was an honored guest here by the name of Chen whose mother remained at your inn. How is she now?" "Originally," said Liu Xiao'er, "she stayed in my inn. Afterwards she went blind, and for 3 or 4 years did not pay me any rent. She now lives in a dilapidated potter's kiln near the southern gate, and every day she goes begging on the streets." Once that honored guest had left, he was gone for a long time, and even now there is no news of him whatever. I can't understand it. When Shenzong heard this, he went at once to the dilapidated potter's kiln at the southern gate and found his grandmother. The grandmother said, "Your voice sounds very much like that of my son Chen Guangrui." "I'm not Chen Guangrui," said Shenzong, "but only his son. Lady Wen Jiao is my mother." "Why didn't your father and mother come back?" asked the grandmother. "My father was beaten to death by bandits," said Shenzong, "and one of them forced my mother to be his wife." "How did you know where to find me?" asked the grandmother. "It was my mother," answered Shenzong. "Who told me to seek my grandmother?" "There's a letter from mother here, and there's also an incense ring." The grandmother took the letter and the incense ring and wept without restraint. "For merit and reputation," she said, "my son came to this. I thought that he had turned his back on righteousness and had forgotten parental kindness. How should I know that he was murdered? Fortunately, heaven remembered me at least in pity, and this day a grandson has come to seek me out." "Grandmother," asked Shenzong, "how did you go blind?" "Because I thought so often about your father," said the grandmother. "I waited for him daily, but he did not return. I wept until I was blind in both eyes." Shenzong knelt down and prayed to heaven, saying, "Have regard of Shenzong who, at the age of 18, has not yet avenged the wrong done to his parents. By the command of my mother, I came this day to find my grandmother. If heaven would take pity on my sincerity, grant that the eyes of my grandmother regain their sight." When he finished his petition, he licked the eyes of his grandmother with the tip of his tongue. In a moment, both eyes were licked open, and they were as of old. When the grandmother saw the youthful monk, she said, "You're indeed my grandson. Why, you are just like my son Guangrui." She felt both happy and sad. Shenzong led his grandmother out of the kiln, and went back to Liu Xiao'er's inn, where he rented a room for her to stay. He also gave her some money, saying, "In a little more than a month's time, I'll be back." Taking leave of his grandmother, he went straight to the capital, and found his way to the house of the chief minister Yin, on the eastern street of the imperial city. He said to the porter, "This little monk is a kinsman who has come to visit the chief minister." The porter made the report to the chief minister, who replied, "I'm not related to any monk." But his wife said, "I dreamed last night that my daughter Mantang Jiao came home. Could it be that our son-in-law has sent us a letter?" The chief minister therefore had the little monk shown to the living room. When he saw the chief minister and his wife, he fell weeping to the floor. Taking a letter from within the folds of his robe, he handed it over to the chief minister. The chief minister opened it, read it from beginning to end, and wept without restraint. "Your Excellency, what is the matter?" asked his wife. "This monk," said the chief minister, "is our grandson. Our son-in-law, Chen Guangrui, was murdered by bandits, and Mantang Jiao was made the wife of the murderer by force." When the wife heard this, she too wept inconsolably. "Let Our Lady restrain her grief," said the chief minister. "Tomorrow morning I shall present a memorial to our Lord. I shall lead the troops myself to avenge our son-in-law." The next day, the chief minister went into court to present his memorial to the Tang Emperor, which read, "The son-in-law of your subject, the Zhuangyun Chen Guangrui, was proceeding to his post at Jiangzhou with members of his family. He was beaten to death by the boatman Liu Hong, who then took our daughter by force to be his wife. He pretended to be the son-in-law of your subject and usurped his post for many years.